Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning if you're watching this on catch up, and welcome to Gen CFO Talks. Now, today we are going to be talking about digital twins in FP&A, a phrase that people might not have heard of before, digital twins. We're going to dig into it. Is it a revolution? Is it reality? Or is it just another buzzword in our crazy world? Welcome, first of all. Now, Gen CFO Talks is not meant to be another sort of corporate lecture or a best practice demo. It's a conversation with people who really know what they're talking about. It's the absolute highlight of the Gen CFO community calendar, and it's all part of this change that we're trying to change, the role revolution, sorry, and the change that we're seeing in the accounting and finance world in business. It's super important that people lean into these subjects if they want to stay ahead of the curve. And this one is no different. Digital twins are really interesting. They've come from industry, and I'm going to scene set on those in a minute. But we're going to pull it all the way from this crazy world where it started into FP&A today, and we've got some great speakers lined up. If you are here live, then get involved. Okay, you have some great speakers. You've got a chance to react. There's the reaction buttons all on the Zoom setup. You also have a chance to ask questions. You can chat amongst yourselves. You can share opinions in the chat. But you can also use the Q&A functionality to ask the panel questions. And I will be looking for questions throughout if you are interested. We've also got polls. Really interesting to get everybody's answers on those polls to get a real coalface response, see what's actually happening, see whether this is all just hype or whether somebody is actually leaning into this. And last but not least, we do record all of our sessions. We have a fantastic growing over 100 hours of conversation, of learning, of sharing, all specific to the accounting and finance space in business. And you'll be able to find this replay on our community. And I believe we might even have an offer for you at the end, which is a free trial. But let's see what happens first. These things don't happen without fantastic partners, whether it's your implementation, whether it's just thinking about the idea, or whether it's all the way through to creating FP&A within your organization. And today's sponsored by Jedox. Now, Jedox is a FP&A solution, helps business users work smarter, streamline business collaboration, and make insight-based decisions with confidence. Yes, I did just read that. But more really importantly, Jedox is a partner to us and on our Tech 100 listing. And the Tech 100 within the Gen CFO community is a bit of a shortcut. If you are looking for new technology, there's literally thousands of technologies out there being used by every industry out there as well. But these ones are handpicked by our community, and Jedox is community supported. And what that means is people within the community use it, and they're happy to share their stories about Jedox if you're looking for them. So on to today. So what is, I don't know, this digital trend subject all about? And I'm just going to try and frame it for a couple of minutes. I actually used to work for a CFO in a big industrial conglomerate. I won't mention any names. And it was there that I first found out about this concept of the digital twin. And the digital twin is, if you've ever tried to plan anything in your life and you've wanted some certainty over it, then that can be really handy, right? You can make decisions based on what you think is going to happen. Obviously, you're all FP&A professionals, you know that. But where this actually started was in infrastructure, really boring use cases. What's the flow of traffic if we put a new building here? Or in this case, and the example is Paris, if we have a new Olympic stadium, which is what Paris used it for really well, then what's the sort of workforce impact? What's the planning that we need to put in place from an infrastructure point of view? And they're using all these different sort of operational, external data sources to map the change before it happens. And the whole point of doing this isn't just to know, it's to make better decisions. It's to save time in construction so you don't have to rework things. It's to reduce the cost overall, so you're getting things right first time. Arguably, I think there was a brilliant Formula One venue example where they were able to change the design so footfall was better, so there was a much higher ROI for any retail development that they were going to put onto the map. Now, these are all really big, as I said, Uber planning ideas, But can we bring this into business? Can we bring this into the FP&A space? Can we start planning ahead, not just in terms of the financials, but the operationals and much wider across the business? Maybe bringing in external data, macroeconomic data, X feeds from Trump and the like to try and predict the future. There's so much data out there now. What can we do with a digital twin in FP&A? And I am super pleased that I'm going to be able to have this discussion with three fantastic speakers, people who know what they're talking about, people who work in FP&A. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to three speakers. We've got Glenn Regalato. He is the head of FP&A at Quadient. We have Armando Lupacini, who is the Group FP&A Director at Campari. And we have Sri Golapudi, who is the Director of Product Management at Jeddah. Welcome, team, to dig into digital twins and FP&A, and they're all going to magically pop up as I say that. So look, let's just dig into a bit of the technical side, and I'm going to come to Sri on this first, because I think we really need to understand, okay, Chris, you presented digital twins, but how does this apply to FP&A in theory, let's say? Sri.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me here today. So, to me, in FP&A, a digital twin is a virtual replica of a company's financial and operational landscape. So, by bringing together real time data, what this enables businesses to do is to forecast outcomes, to be able to model those scenarios and enable data driven decision making. So, in an increasingly complex world that we live today, especially in the economic environment, things are changing very rapidly. I think this is something that helps businesses stay agile and resilient.
Excellent. And just to come back once on that, do you think this is a reality for FP&A teams at some point in the future? Or do you think that this is just another hyped subject?
I really think it is not in the future, it's a reality now. As you just mentioned, Chris, just a minute ago, things are changing rapidly, right? Like President Trump's policy changes, or the COVID-19 pandemic, or the Suez Canal blockage that sent ripple effect, disrupting supply chains everywhere. So digital twins help you simulate those, scenarios and plan accordingly.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks for that. So, Armando, coming to you next. How do you see this sort of affecting FP&A in reality?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this, Chris, and hi to everyone. Yeah, this for us is a really hot topic because you mentioned all the topics related to tariffs, to the changes that we are living in the current environment, especially in the FMCG context where our margins are exposed to this volatility of the overall macroeconomic scenario. We need something that allows us to take decision faster and to abandon the static Excel file or very burden processes that are standard in the organization, but that typically do not support in quick decision making, understanding, simulation, and what if scenarios. For me, digital twins is all about this. Hear about what if and simulation a lot. We have been hearing this for a long time, but this is the real moment, the real context in which we can put this into practice.
Excellent. Exciting times. And you're obviously in FMCG. Glenn, you're in a slightly different sector, I think. Do you still see this as applying to FP&A?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, hi everyone, and nice to be everyone on the call. Definitely, yeah. So as Amanda and Shreya mentioned, I see digital twins as the flight simulator for finance and really being a dynamic model of the company's financial and operational systems, reflecting real-time data on financial health, operations, and performance metrics. So from that, being able to accurately forecast outcomes more accurately, assess risks. As I mentioned, there's a lot of change in the current environment, so risk is a real key topic, and along with that, running simulations. So looking at different business scenarios, being able to make more informed decisions, but also being more proactive in terms of those decisions. And that's really the key of what we're looking at going forward, not just now, but for the future.